Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. I'm here today as a citizen, lifelong citizen of the city of Tulsa, to ask for you to consider the proposal which takes 0.2 points of the 0.6% vision sales tax and uses it for the public safety area. I have lived in Tulsa. I grew up with Councilor Patrick out in the North Tulsa area, and then moved out to East Tulsa, out to 121st and 23rd area. I've lived out in 34th and Mingo, and 81st and Sheridan. Now live at 61st and Trenton. And no, I wasn't run out of all those areas. So it
Just Dawson.
yeah, it's Patrick. Councilor Patrick will say just Dawson. And I have throughout all these years been very strongly supportive, no matter where I lived in Tulsa, because I think everybody in the city knows that public safety is a prime function of the city of Tulsa. And I would suggest that the reason I am taking time, first time in all these years, to be here at the council to come and present this is that I don't want it to be lost in all these other presentations. I'm here as a citizen. I don't have a stake in it other than the stake that everyone else in this council has. As my stake is, I want to live in a safe city. I've been watching the council for 20 years talk about trying to increase the number of police officers to the management study levels. I think my understanding from trying to keep track is those study levels are about 878 officers for the city, and we're only around 760. And so for me, I think that if the councils in the past could have found the money from other sources to increase those levels, as they've all indicated they were supportive of, then it would have been done. This provides the council with an opportunity to send to a vote of the people, an opportunity to send that vote to provide money. I understand the proposal by the mayor and some of the council members are for not just police officers, but for firefighters and street maintenance. I always used to say when I was in the House and Senate that if I were king, I would do it one way, but I know you've got to build a consensus. And certainly I'm not opposed to that consensus. And I know the council, I would love to see the kind of consensus you all had for the trees for this type of proposal on public safety. And so I'm here today just to present, as just a citizen of the city of Tulsa, my strong feeling that we shouldn't miss this opportunity to present this to the citizens. I think it would pass overwhelmingly. I do appreciate all of your public service. I know that it is a sacrifice. I do appreciate the members of the council who've been focusing on public safety. I know all of you are concerned about that. And as always, it's important to try to figure out how to be more efficient with the dollars that you use, and I'm not in any way trying to diminish that. So a number of you heard me make this pitch out in the South Tulsa hearing, and I appreciate your patience with me again today, but I strongly feel that this needs to be considered, and so I wanted to come down and present it to you personally, especially for those who weren't there for that presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. If I may, I've had at Graham Park over in Councilor Jeannie Q's district where I live, this is one of many occasions where I've seen the effects of crime. A couple of individuals were walking off the tennis court when I walked on it with a child that I mentor from church, and they were being robbed right in our presence, armed robbery, right there in the public. I've seen other types of situations like that. I read the newspaper like you all do every day. I know that you can talk about all these economic development projects, but they will go for naught if you don't convince people across this country that Tulsa is a safe city. And on the day I was there at that last meeting, I had a headline that was in that morning's paper. We can almost do it at least once a week about the amount of crime that we're dealing with. And so I just want to make it clear that I strongly support doing whatever it takes. And if the council can find money elsewhere, wonderful. But I just haven't seen it. I've been watching it for 20 years. I've seen councilors and mayors run for office saying that this is a priority and that they want to see this that they want to increase officers. And I applaud the members of the council and the mayor's office who have made this a priority, and I'd hope that you would. And I know there's the problems with it being an operational cost versus a capital improvements cost. But the fact is, you have to be bold and do something a little different, and that I would like to see that portion of it permanent so we could make it operational costs. I do want to commend the council for their efforts in being patient, listening to all these proposals.